just going to turn that light on. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. How are we all? Did any of you suffer with rhinitis? What's rhinitis? Let's have a look. Let's say good morning to you all. Good morning, everyone. Nanny Bluebell, Margaret O'Brien, Martina McKeown, Tracy Lynham, Bev Hartnell. Those names are flying up, aren't they? How are we all this morning? I saw someone there struggling with, what is rhinitis? What is rhinitis? I saw someone there struggling with anxiety, talking about anxiety. It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because, I mean, different things for different people. It's generally, if you feel that you don't want to go out or get the air or go for a walk or do something minimally physical just to get you out of here and into here, it's hard. The point that you're saying your body's screaming no generally and your mind's screaming, well, the time that you're screaming no in your head, you should really get out and do something. But it is so cold, and so it's so easy to kind of just go, no, I don't want to do that. How is everyone? Stacey, I'm sure you would like to go for a walk. Sending you all our love, Stacey. Shannon Pillsworth. Hey, Mark, me and my mum, Emma, got a card yesterday to say we screeched with delight was an understatement. Oh, Shannon, I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased. Sorry about our ugly mugs. Hi, Erin. Zoe, good morning. Jude Osler, I'm agoraphobic and was diagnosed with anxiety in 2006. Annie Brown, just waiting at hospital. It's so cold. I bet it is. And isn't it another nurses' strike today, I think? Is it? No, it's not 2 days in a row, is it? I'm losing track of how many strikes there are. There are strikes happening everywhere, aren't there? Morning, Fiona Snot Bunny Cowface Reed. Got your card yesterday too. Fantastic. It's a nasal complaint. I was going to say, is it like rhinoplasty? Rhinitis. Rhinitis. Isn't it funny how the nose is like rhinos. Christos, maybe you know the derivation of the rhinos. Presumably it is from the rhinoceros, or maybe the rhinoceros is named after the nose. Maybe the rhinoceros used to just be a nose with legs. Maybe that's what rhinoceros means, nose with legs. Things that help anxiety. Mia Wood. You're absolutely right. Fresh air. It sounds ridiculous, but the very act of cold air molecules hitting your face. So even if you were to go out to the dustbin and come back in and go, whoa, that takes you out of your head. Fresh air. Fresh aware, as my nan used to say. Meditation. It's very hard to get yourself to a place of meditation, especially when you've had a few coffees. Breath work, eating well, and being gentle with yourself. Mia Wood, chin chin. And I could probably take all of that advice too. There's a sort of, when you sum up an Alcoholics Anonymous group, you do the Serenity Prayer and they say, just work it, you're worth it, you're worth it, so work it. And one of the hard things about that is deciding that you're worth it. You know, one of the things for self-improvement is you have to believe it's worth doing. And sometimes that, for me, is the disconnect. Where is my self-worth? Because if I'm lacking that, it's very hard to get to the point of doing the thing that will make me feel better, because I need to value myself to want to make myself feel better. And that is the spiral we get into. So in many regards, of those 5 things that Mia Wood mentions there, thank you, Mia, fresh air is possibly the first and the most immediately achievable. Get that hit, get that shot. In a weird way, the fact that it's colder weather is even more sort of, useful, because the shock can be quite dramatic. You know, sometimes, I mean, getting in a cold shower in this weather isn't a good idea, but even having a bath or a shower at the point that you feel most anxious, again, it's another physical, it's another change that doesn't require you really to do too much, but it changes the outside of you. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of, I'm a big believer in sort of, just something that kind of makes the molecules, that's why people do a swim in the sea, says Amanda Lonergan. Absolutely. Gloria Chesham, meanwhile, says, I'd like to give up wine. That would help with anxiety. I mean, if you've drunk the night before, it gives you the jitters. Tracy Lynham, I know it's one day at a time. Erin Bullimore, my poor friend has just broken up with her boyfriend. He's been cheating on her for 8 years. That's going to wreck her mental health. So, well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a curious, there's nothing lighthearted about infidelity. People talk about it with such gay abandon, like, oh yeah, have sex, oh, yeah, but you're absolutely right, Erin. When it happens, it's like a death. It's like a death. Tony Marie Cleveland, haven't received a card yet. Well, if it's your 24 months, it'll be on the, and you've put it on the link, you will get it. If you've not won a card, you won't have got one. But if you've won a card in one of the lives, I think all of the cards for members' lives have gone out. If not, remind us of when you won them and send your address to Michelle. Karen Rogers, wish I could share the photo of the beautiful sunrise I saw on my dog walk this morning. Yes, at 6 o'clock this morning, the sky, or just after, no, later than 6 o'clock, 6:15, 6:30. The sky was a staggering pink. Oh, beautiful. Mrs. Sadie C, husband just had his last radiotherapy this AM and I am so feeling hopeful. Oh, sweetheart, sending you so much love and likewise. Prayers and everything else. Christine Bett, hi everyone from New Zealand, which is a nice segue. Thank you, Christine Bett, to New Zealand. What do we make of this? Jacinda Ardern, the New Zealand Prime Minister, who I'm right in thinking everyone probably in the world prior to the pandemic and lockdown felt that with the Jacinda Ardern becoming the Prime Minister of New Zealand, that when I say ordinary, I don't mean this in a pejorative sense, that an ordinary person, a person of the people, someone who is like you and me, made of flesh and blood, someone who's relatable, was finally in a position of authority and leading a country. Obviously, there was the fact that she was a woman. Obviously, there was the fact that, was she pregnant at the time? She was, she's having babies and juggling the responsibilities. I think there was a great sense. She was elected at the age of just 37. Well, she's resigned. She's resigned. So, a young mother with a young family. She steered her country through the pandemic. And I recognize that for people in New Zealand, that's quite a polarized, her methods and her policies were quite polarizing. Those who thought they were too extreme, many others who thought she was a world leader. For a moment there, everyone was going, yes, we need a Jacinda. And then after a while, people were going, no, it's easy, isn't it? With hindsight productions to go, oh, well, we should have done that. And perhaps we should have done this. It's very easy to stand there, isn't it? Going, well, why didn't we do that? I mean, at the time, it was unprecedented. I'll just use that word again. So I think there was a moment where Jacinda was a little bit like, what's his face? Justin Trudeau. It's kind of like, wow, these are kind of cool, relatively, if not funky, then relatively plugged in, relatable. I think that's the thing, relatable people who maybe have some comprehension of what it means to be a human being rather than what it means to be, an Etonite or something like that. Anyway, she's resigned. But what's interesting about this story, and I want to know what you think, is she said, and it's quite sudden, she's resigning. I think she's going to stop being Prime Minister on the 7th of February. I think elections are happening later in the year. I think her party isn't doing particularly well, but it isn't to do that. And she says in her speech, people are probably going to start asking, why so suddenly? Why all this kind of stuff? And she says, and I want to know what you think about this. She says there just is not enough in the tank anymore to do the job justice. She's giving up, you could argue. I think some people have already used that phrase in the press. She's giving up. But is giving up such a bad thing to do? That's what I want to ask. Jacinda Ardern, giving up is hard to do. Or is it? So what do you think, guys? Very good, Jackie Vellino, thank you. She's putting herself first, which is a good thing, Tracy Lynham. People could say putting herself first or putting the country first. Maybe she could argue she's steered the country through all this stuff, and it's now a point in her life where she does want to take time for herself. Teresa Saunders, she's had enough. At least she's on. I can see this being a topic, I'll say loose, where it's like, is she letting women down? Is she, by saying she can't do it, is she somehow letting women down? Or is she actually demonstrating the strength of what it means to be a human? I.e., you have one life, it's your life, and once you've done certain things with it, it's up to you how you live it, as long as it doesn't harm anyone else. Erin Bullimore, you can't ask someone to sacrifice more than they have. Angela Locke, hi Angela. It's a build-up of things to reach that point. Yeah. Pink Lady, rhinoceros from the ancient Greek, rhino keros. Rhino nose, keros horn, as the rhino horn is made of, oh right, keratin, wow. I think she's showing strength, Tracy Lyon. Okay, well let's do a poll. Is Jacinda resigning, giving up, or a bold decision for herself? Which of those do you think it is? Pixie Petal Jenny, sometimes you have to walk away and let others take over. If it's best for you, then it's right to do it. And it might not have anything to do with the fact that she isn't doing her job right. She just might be saying, I've decided this is no longer for me. I think some other world leaders, no names mentioned, could do well to sort of look at this and go, you know what, sometimes it's just about stepping back honourably, and what have you. Amanda Lonergan, the right wing, hated her and suffered a lot of trolling and attacking her. The left loved her. She's done the right thing. Sarah Fox, she's done her bit and is now going to look after herself and her family. Incredibly sensible in my book. I should have done something similar years ago and may have prevented my chronic illness. Michelle Hofstein, she's doing the right thing for her and New Zealand. Elaine Flew, if she continued in the role, then that's why she may have let everyone down. It's a curious one what you say there, Elaine Flew. That leads me up some really existential kind of paths, because yeah, when people kind of overstay their welcome and make mistakes, because they've overstayed their welcome and made the mistakes, you can't go, oh look what happened when you didn't overstay your welcome. And you know what I mean? We always get to sort of forks in the road, and because you have to test drive one of them, you never get to know what the other said. But we all sit there kind of going, but what if, but what if? And I think this is one of those situations where perhaps she is trying to predict the future and she's saying, you know what, I'm going to get ahead of the curve here. I'm going to pull out of this, not before she's kind of rumbled as insufficient, but she's done enough. So it looks like, looking at this poll, it looks like a number of you have respect for her decision. Ellie Denning, total respect her, strength for my vote. She needs to think of herself, says Julian Airy. I bet she is totally burnt out. Bellex1, when you have kids, you think you can do it all, but sometimes it's too much when they're small. Michelle Hofstein, Biden, Trump. I mean, most of the leaders, like, I mean, men, just a lot of men just, well, you could, is this, well, it is kind of true. Men will just keep going, even if it means they're taking the ship over the edge. What edge? You can't take ships over the edge. Even if they're driving the car off a cliff, it's like, keep on going, don't give up, don't give up. Is this essentially, I don't want to genderize it, would a male leader be as inclined to do this, do you think? What do you think? Is this something that's yet again another positive aspect? Or maybe this is just her relatability again. She's just a nice, you know, sort of sensible, thoughtful woman who's thought, no. Timmery, definitely not. Sorry, I forgot how I asked that. Definitely not. Would men just keep going? They wouldn't give up. Is that what you're saying? She has been looking tired over the last few months. Yeah, I mean, you know, she's had enough. That's all right. Previous Pope did, Debbie Otero. That's interesting. That's a good point. Why is everything related back to what sex the person is, Tracy Lynham? Yeah, well, that's my fault, Tracy Lynham. I'm asking the question. I'm being difficult. But I think there's already creeping into the coverage of this, the idea that is she letting the team down type thing. Erin Bullimore, women are more likely at the moment to admit that they're burnt out and tired and had enough. Men wouldn't want to come across as weak. It's kind of what I'm driving at, and I don't think it's a good thing. In a weird way, it's yet another example of toxic masculinity, isn't it? So that's Jacinda Ardern. Resignation. Resigning from her prime ministerial responsibilities, I think on the 7th of Feb. She's staying an MP for a couple more months, and then there's an election. What was that question? Is it Jackie? Where are you? Hang on. But is she coming across as weak, Pink Lady? I don't think so. Teresa Sanders, men wouldn't know, their pride wouldn't let them, which is a shame. I think more people need to give up. It's like failure. You know, everyone sort of says failure is a bad thing. It's only in failure do you learn. It's only in change that you grow. It's only in giving up that you can start again. Jesus, that's my Oprah thought for the day. Is it Oprah? Or do you remember Jerry Springer? Whatever happened to Jerry Springer? Thought for the day. So that's just Jacinda Ardern. Personally, I think good on her. I think, again, human fallibility, relatability, it makes her an even stronger leader in New Zealand's history, I think. Again, New Zealand, I think I'd like to move to New Zealand. So that's Jacinda Ardern. Giving up signs. Now, this is a curious story, and I'd like to thank Laura Francis. Laura, and it's Laura Francis. Zoe, you know Laura. Laura. I never know what to call it. Laura or Laura. Laura laughs. It flagged up this story. Now, I've dug around this story, and I can't find an actual quote where she says this, but Shakira believes that she worked out that her ex was allegedly having an affair due to a curious clue in her fridge. And that clue was that there was an empty jar of jam. So it's not a jar of jam, it's an empty jam jar, isn't it? How can something be a jam jar or a jar of jam if the jam is not there? Anyway, apparently she returned home from a period of traveling. I think she was on tour or something. And there was jam in a jar in the fridge, and she knew that her husband or her partner and her children didn't like jam. When asked on This Morning what she was looking for in the fridge, Shakira replied, to find the truth. And I just wondered whether, I think, again, this is, I tell you what, I'm slipping them all the good stories here. I think this would be a good one for Luce too. I think, what are some of the giveaway signs that someone's perhaps having an affair? I would never have thought a jam jar was one of them. You know, I mean, the classic is, whose knickers are these? Maybe in the back of the car. Another is, whose hair is this on your collar? Perhaps another one is hiding a phone or finding a second phone, Courtney Richardson. Or finding an item of jewellery. Butter, says Laurel Nichols, finding butter in the fridge. My friend's relationship started to break down when he moved in with her 2-3 years ago. Obviously, his other girlfriend found out pretty quickly and began probing. Don't know what he thought would happen here in Baltimore. Bloody hell, that's a sophisticated level of deceit. They're talking to you about everything to cover the lies. My Bell X, that's another one. Sarah Witherington, my ex took his phone to the bathroom, would never leave it on the side. I take mine to the bathroom all the time, but I'm sort of, playing games and reading the news and all that kind of stuff. Tracy Liner, my boyfriend hubby had an affair. Biggest clue was he started to take cash out when he usually paid for everything by card. My ex had salad in his fridge, Laura Lou. He did not eat salad. Also, God, this is another fridge story, so I'm not making light of it. That's awful. Also, women's shampoo in the bathroom that wasn't mine. I think she wanted me to know. So you think she was putting things everywhere? Hairs on clothes, someone else said. There's a person in the wardrobe, says Good Ship Lollipop. Teresa Saunders, I would know because my husband is shit at lying. Oh, Angela Thompson, pet hairs on clothes when you don't have pets. I remember someone years ago, I was talking about this with Nadia earlier today, who realised that things were up when their partner suddenly became obsessed. I mean, this one worried me because became obsessed with doing sit-ups, obviously to improve their abs. And like I said to Nat, if that's the case, then clearly I'm having hundreds of affairs because I can't stop doing Joe Wicks. In fact, I'm having an affair with Joe Wicks. Jen, she rang him through the car phone. Wow. Ellery Jones, I found an earring on my sofa and it did not belong to me. Barry Ma Digner, it wasn't me. Shaggy. Was that a song? I think it was a song. I think it was. Or is it not Shaggy, but Scooby-Doo? Joanna Smith, my ex had a package in his flat with her name and address on it. Isn't that the plot of American Beauty? Is it? I can't remember American Beauty. It was so many years ago. My husband is such a creature of habit meal-wise that any deviation I would know something was up. Yeah, signs of a woman treating Tracy Lynham. That's a good point. Aftershave, um, stress lines, dealing with two men. Susan Mann, when he starts shaving his back. God, Elizabeth, I'm shocked and surprised by how many different ways there are to Laura Lou. Another ex of mine kept listening to the song Layla. Found out he was seeing a girl at the gym called Layla. Oh, Good Ship Lollipop. That's an interesting one with a woman. She doesn't nag as much because she doesn't care. Starts to let things go. Sarah Witherington, oh my God, I had a lady follow me on Twitter. She later told me that not only did she have an affair with her husband, she also told me she had a child with another woman. He had a child with another woman. Danielle Blake Smith suddenly using Facebook to contact ex-girlfriend. I do think lots of sudden hushed conversations on phones. It is a, oh my God, Laurel Nichols shaving his pubes. Jackie Vellino, sexy underwear, I guess so. Suddenly using Facebook. Bev Berry, I caught my ex kissing a friend as I wouldn't sleep with him. Lucky escape for me. Wow. Judith, a love bite on his neck. Barry Mardigana, when I was younger, I was a slimeball. I accidentally texted my girlfriend. Well, good on you for sort of acknowledging that. I accidentally texted my girlfriend at the time something dirty. I didn't mean to. I meant to send to my ex. It was karma. Barry. But good on you for taking ownership and having clearly moved on. Solomon Makes Films. 45 Years is a great film example of Another Woman. Oh, Zoe. When they shower as soon as they come home. Because let's face it, men are dirty bastards, aren't they? Oh my God, Tired Mummy. I used the printer and a whole sex email came out, what he wanted to do with her in depth. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Jesus. I did not expect Shakira's jam jar to, once opened, lead to all of this metaphorical jam. Jackie Vellino, lipstick on his collar. Lipstick on his... I don't know how the song goes. Brenda M. Oh, dear. Oh, bloody hell, Tired Mummy. That is a harsh one. Well, there you go. Clearly, I reckon... Who reckons this is going to be one of the topics on Loose Today? I reckon it will be. Now, this is a curious one. Who remembers the actor Julian Sands? This is Julian Sands, who was... wasn't he the actor in... wasn't he in... what's that film? Room with a View. I thought he was in Chariots of Fire, but he wasn't, was he? It was A Room with a View was his most famous. Leaving Las Vegas. Two hikers have gone missing in California. I've gone hiking in the foothills and sort of, you call them mountains, but then they are mountains in California. I think the Sierra Nevada we went. It's pretty tough stuff. You've got all sorts of things there. Anyway, he's been hiking on Mount Baldy, like bald eagle, and him and another hiker have gone missing. And apparently the conditions are treacherous, it's icy, it's dangerous, etc. I think, I've got a feeling that I said to Nads, like at stupid o'clock this morning, I said, I'm sure you were on a show promoting a book with him at some point. He's quite eccentric and he's quite a sort of hiker. But yeah, so a rescue mission has gone out. So, Christ, Julian Sands, currently is missing in Southern California's Mount Baldy area. So, God, all of our hopes go out to them finding him, because that's just awful. I mean, I also saw that someone recently, did they perish, or two people perished on Mont Blanc? Me and a friend, again, Neil, we went up Mont Blanc, and that's no easy thing. I'm telling you right now, Mont Blanc is a heck of a climb. So yeah, Tracy Lynham, same here. I hope they find them both alive and well. So that's just a story, a sort of curious story, and you sort of, you hear these stories of people going missing, and then suddenly it's like, oh right, I know who the person is. That's weird. Illegal vapes are the biggest threat. The reason I want to talk about this is is anyone else who's a parent, vast majority of you think it's a bold decision for herself, Jacinda resigning, whereas 13% think it's her giving up. You might think it's her giving up, but what's wrong with giving up? I don't think there's anything wrong with giving up sometimes. As long as you've had a good go, give up. See you, Tim. Have a good day, matey. Flip. Illegal vapes. Is anyone else worried about this as much as I am? more and more research coming through that there is no research, and more of these things being sold to kids. And in fact, Kiki told us the other day that there's a particular vape which is designed like a milkshake thingy. It's clearly the Alco Pops of today. They're being aimed at youngsters. Kids between the age of 10 and 14 just won't stop on them. There's all sorts of variations like elf bars and what have you. The nicotine content can sometimes be, I think on the elf bars, 40 times that of a cigarette, and simply because they're not cigarettes and they are used by many as a way to wean off cigarettes, there's this assumption that they must be better for you or possibly even good for you. And not enough studies have been done. I mean, we're at the embryonic early stages of what sort of damage this can cause. And so the Trading Standards officials, or Trading Standards Association, have said, one of their biggest concerns on the high street is the illegal selling of vaping products to children, brightly coloured vapes and all this kind of stuff. In a survey of more than 400 trading standards officers, 60% said that their main worries were shops selling illegal vapes, which are potentially unsafe. I just think it's a horrendous thing. And I think it's one of those things as well where in the marketing, we're sort of sleepwalking into, I think, a potential health disaster in about another 10 to 15 years. Because, Carol Naismith, 10 to 14, it's just terrible. I mean, vaping, And weirdly, of course, lots of youngsters can point to adults who say, oh, I'm using this to kick cigarettes. And I can think for many adults, yes, it is a sort of, if you like, it's a kind of stepping stone away, isn't it, from smoking cigarettes. And so in that sense, it is a step down and a step towards a healthier move. But then it kind of normalizes vaping for youngsters. So youngsters go, well, I see adults doing it and they're saying this is a healthier option than smoking cigarettes, then count your blessings that I'm doing this. But there just isn't enough research. So yeah, they're being sold, and this idea that they shouldn't literally be sold to youngsters, they are being, and kids are getting them, and you can get ones that aren't made properly. You can get ones that hurt you, damage you, burn you, all that kind of stuff. I think there are certain ones, although I'm told that not all of them can you do this with, where you can smoke spliff and stuff like that in them too. So, I think if your school is trying to crack down on vaping use, try and support them, because it's a bloody nightmare. Tina Davis, they smell horrible. They didn't look into the vapors, but they didn't look into the vapors anymore. I mean, you often walk down the street and there's suddenly a smell of sort of strawberry, sort of milkshake. And it's like, what the hell? And it's like some 6-year-old pumping on it's like pipes. Erin Bullimore, that's the problem with our rampant consumerism culture. People will just jump on something without any actual regard for safety or responsibility, and producers make them as attractive as possible. I think there has to be some safeguarding laws here of some form. You go into now a newsagents and the cigarettes are behind a barrier, but instead you've got all these kind of fluorescent colours that look collectible. They look fantastic. Jackie Vellino, hate being stuck in traffic with someone vaping in front. Entirely agree. Final topic I just wanted to talk about. Is anyone here an enormous bingo fan? Bingo is becoming all the rage. I know our dear friend Lee does, was it you do? Cocktail bingo? Was it cocktail bingo? He does a sort of bingo type night. Apparently bingo is becoming all the rage with the 17 to 25-year-olds. Whereas back in my day, bingo was something that, not that my nan went to, but someone of my nan's age would go to. I remember filming in a bingo hall many years ago. Oh my God, there hell hath no fury, like a table of 8 50-something women with huge dibbers. Are they called dibbers or dobbers? And you're filming them, and then they've got a few drinks in them, and they start daubing your face. And of course, it's had to go through a politically correct kind of facelift, because of course some of the kind of, the sort of rhyming couplets, was it leggy, something legs, 11? I mean, the awful one, 2 fat ladies, 88, all that kind of stuff. Glass of wine, 69. Bingo is not big here, like in the UK, Mara instance. I hate bingo, says Angela Thompson. See, I think one of the reasons they're saying that this is becoming quite popular is that I'm rubbish at bingo, is that no skill is required. As long as you're listening. And I think that's one of the problems, though, is that you get a little bit obsessed with each other. Chat. What number's been said? Full house. Not a bingo player, but it keeps kids safe and not vaping, then good, Mrs. Sadie C. Yeah, I think, but you know, anyway, so bingo going and bingo halls is experiencing something of a renaissance. You know, the more bingo clubs there are, the number of bingo clubs in the UK has nearly doubled since 2016. Young adults are finding themselves there more and more. The 18 to 25 age range is increasing. You know, sometimes there's always these, like vaping, there's always these things and innovations and changes and trends that we often sort of go, oh, I think bingo's a good one. It's communal, everyone gets together, there's a light sense of competition, there's the possibility of winning something. I mean, I think it's sad that cinemas have been closed down and turned into bingo halls. Pink Lady, not if they start gambling. Absolutely good point. And I think if you've got a bingo hall, that's true. Is it? I suppose it is a form of gambling. Is it the most benign form of gambling? Well, I suppose, you know, scratch cards and all that. I saw someone in the shop the other day getting about 85 scratch cards. And they were doing them on the thing and then handing them over, doing them on the thing. Oh, God. Sarah Witherington, I went once with my ex-mother-in-law. Women, complete gambling addiction crazy. Oh, really? Is this the sinister underbelly of bingo? Ah. And there's me thinking it's some innocent thing. Love bingo. I've thousands on bingo and had some lovely holidays off bingo winnings. Hazel Malbon, have you? There you go. I'd have thought, isn't it a minimal outlay for quite... Mind you, in some places, I've seen footage in some places where people have like 85 cards and they're like that. So fast and furious. They slice you from here to here if you're not one of their cards out of the way. Michelle Hofstein, form of gambling and drinking, not a fan. There you go, you see. I thought it was a benign, sort of carefree, nostalgic pastime. But no, it's got a sinister, dark commercial underbelly. Aaron Bullenwell, you're right. Everything is shit. And on that note, I'm signing off. A vlog is going to be landing at some point soon. Yeah, the last one of 2022, and then we're going to be moving into home times of 2023. And as you know, we've also got our trip to Greece landing, and we've also got a trip to Cornwall landing. And what else have we got? And the Curly Cooks coming this weekend, don't forget. So you know, try to keep you stimulated. Is it just me, or is it... James O'Brien wrote a book, Pink Lady, said, is it just me, or is everything shit? Guys, look, I think for a fact, everything is quite shit.